Good morning. Again, good morning. Oh, and we're live on Facebook. I know that my daughter is here today. Both of my daughters. Do me a favor, daughters. Go on Facebook and grab a link for today's talk, which is streaming live on Facebook, and send it to my godmother, Pat, because for the life of her, she can't figure out how to get on. And I really wanted to share this with her as well. I'm so happy to see you all. My name, for those who don't know, is Amber Guzman, and I am a prayer practitioner here at the Centers for Living in Monterey, California. And I am so happy to stand in for Reverend Robert. It's the fifth Sunday, and Reverend Robert is on vacation. We let him have a little break every now and then, go figure. So we are thinking about him, and our hearts are with him in his rest today, and he'll be back next week. So this whole week of January, it's the last week of January, and this whole week, the theme has been Living Everyday Wonder. So just to summarize the theme, we've been talking about how spiritual living just doesn't happen on Sunday mornings or when you're meditating. It's something that you need to make a daily practice. And so I'm going to start this week's talk. The title or the subject is Prove It. And I'm going to start off with a little story. My kids hate it when I tell stories about them, but this was so perfect, I couldn't help it. So please forgive me, Jordan, but I'm talking about you today. Jordan is my oldest daughter, and she graduated from college, from Louisiana College. Now it's called Louisiana Christian College, but she'd been studying to be an elementary school teacher, and she wanted to teach math. So she was breathing, sleeping math, everything was math, knowing that she was going to be a math teacher. And she was blessed enough to receive a job offer right away at a middle school. She went and spoke to the principal, and the principal told her, "We can't wait to hire you. You are going to be our new sixth grade teacher, and the subject that you're going to teach is science." She was devastated. Science. She's like, "Mommy, I don't know anything about science. Like, what am I supposed to teach these children?" But it's been a real joy to watch her grow. She was taught, she had practiced being a teacher. So it was her chance to prove it. It didn't matter what subject it was. It was her opportunity to show that she could use those basic principles that she was taught in any subject that she was to speak. So one day we were speaking over the phone, and she was telling me she was doing a practice experiment. So she was doing the experiment, so she knew what the results were going to be. So when she presented it to the class, she already knew what they should see. And I think it was an experiment about yeast being consumers. So there was one glass where it was just yeast in a glass of water. And then there was another glass that had yeast and a little bit of sugar. So the yeast would eat the sugar. And then the third glass was yeast and water and like 3 times the amount of sugar that the other glass had. And so she was learning what was going to happen. So she took it to the class and she explained all the facts. And then the students got an opportunity to hypothesize or guess what the results were going to be. And then they did the experiment to prove or disprove their hypothesis. Now, Christy Schock, I know, could tell us more about the whole scientific method, it's called. There's like 5 technical steps. But for the purpose of our talk today, we're going to focus on just the 3: gathering the facts, making a hypothesis, and proving it. So it'll be a short, simple talk today. So let's start with the science, or gathering the facts. Ernest Holmes is the founder, if you will, of what we practice here. He titled his work, The Science of Mind. That's the book. This one I have looks like a Bible, but our book is just a textbook. It's not a holy book, but it's a textbook. This one looks like a holy book. I love it. It looks like a Bible. But he titled it The Science of Mind. He named the teaching religious science. And he used the word science intentionally. I had an Oxford Dictionary definition that was really long and wordy. I'm a Webster's girl, so Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines it as knowledge about or the study of the natural world based on facts learned through experiments and observation. Observation and experiments, okay. So if we can accept the science of mind or religious science as a science, then just having the knowledge of the spiritual principle isn't enough. We have to experiment. We have to practice it. So you've probably heard the story, or many of you who have been in the teaching a while have heard the story of the lady that had a headache. And she went into the office of Ernest Holmes, who is the great, he founded this, he taught us all this, and he could practice what he preached. He was a healer. He could do all things. And she had a headache. This headache had been going on for hours. And she said, Ernest, can you please treat or pray for me? Give me a treatment to make this headache go away. It's too long. I know you can do it. Just make it disappear into the nothingness from whence it came. And he looked at her and he said, why don't you just take an aspirin? God is in everything. We can pray and we can have faith that it's going to go away, but God is also in the medicine. Take the medicine, trust the science. And so that's the law. The law is like gravity. It's like electricity. We don't question it. We don't have to know how it all works. We just know that it does. And so it's our opportunity to practice and to use it. I would say the proof is in the pudding. My kids would say, don't talk about it, be about it. And of course, Bobby shared with us that wonderful poem. I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. Practice, live the sermon, live the principles. And thank you, Bobby, for sharing that. That's one of the poems that my great aunt, my grandmother's sister, Helen, would say in our family. And so I feel her presence with us today. Okay, so let's move on to the second part. We've got the science. Now let's move on to the hypothesis, asking the questions. Change your thinking, change your life is a key principle in our philosophy. It's the basic assumption of our science that informs our concept of the creative process and our methodology. But when was the last time you looked at this principle with the objective eye and inquisitive curiosity of the scientific method? Many of you may know that humans are not the only mammal or the only animal on the planet that has memory. If you don't see a dog for a long time, he'll remember who you are. But we are the only mammals, the only animals that will dwell on our memories. We'll replay them over and over in our head. We'll tell ourselves stories over and over. We'll ruminate on these memories. We can be tortured by our memories, stuck in a way of thinking based not on what's happening right now, but how we feel about right now based on how we felt in the past. One of my teachers, Reverend Michelle Wadley, always taught me in practitioner training that if emotion is stirred up in me in the present, it's a sure sign or an indicator that I haven't dealt or examined with something in my past. Usually what I'm angry with right now doesn't really have much to do with that person. It probably has something to do with my grandmother did, or somebody in my family, or an experience that I had growing up that I'm recalling those emotions and feeling it in the present. So I guess that's good news, because being aware of that and knowing that I've been using my stinking thinking, as we call it, to receive the results I currently experience means that I am in control of changing my thinking to receive a different result. And that is just amazing. Like it's good, and it's also like slightly terrifying at the same time because I'm in control. And over, I'm 46 now, 40 something odd years, I've been practicing something different. But we know that there's only one thing happening. It's just God, just the law, the thing itself. We learned how it works, what it does, and how to use it. And we learned that it's not good enough just to know how something works. The real excitement comes from implementing and practicing those ideas, recognizing where our thoughts came from, and making different choices about how to think about it. All this month, we've been looking at wonder in our daily lives and the power of curiosity. What questions can you think of that would open a greater inquiry into an exploration of this principle. What in the world have you been thinking about? And why are you making that choice? What is your hypothesis? What do you think is going to happen when you change the way you're thinking about that situation? Finally, let's look at the proof, proving it. We formed a question and a hypothesis, and now comes the fun part. We get to experiment. Even without the Petri dishes and beakers and Bunsen burners and all those scientific things, our whole world, our life is our laboratory, and we get to experiment with it. I already showed you this, but this is our textbook in a really fancy package. It was gifted to me by the Lost and Kaku family, and I'm so blessed. And the beautiful stole that I'm wearing, that you may not be able to see, was gifted to me by Irene when I finished my practitioner training. And I'm so grateful for these gifts. But the thing was, when I finished practitioner school, I just knew that I was going to have all the answers. I'd been practicing 2 years, inundated with this new way of thinking, and I thought my life was just going to be wonderful. I wasn't going to have any more heartache, no more difficult days. Those were all behind me. I'm a practitioner now. And it just didn't work out that way. You know, life still brings me opportunity to practice. We're all practitioners. We might not all be licensed practitioners, but each and every one of you are a practitioner. What you're choosing to practice is up to you. Are you practicing the truth? Are you choosing to believe that your thoughts, if you change your thoughts, you can change your reality? Some other examples of proof by practicing a new thought are these. And then both of these have to do with changing your thoughts and our behaviors regarding abundance. In the book of Malachi, God says, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me this, prove me this, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be enough room to store it." And in her book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, the author Edwin Gaines shares her story of the experiment with the practice of tithing and how tithing her very last dollar opened the floodgates, changing her life forever. She experienced great abundance. And the story is inspirational, but hearing about it and reading about her story and her practice won't change your life. You can never fully understand the power of this or any other spiritual practice unless you experiment and try it for yourself. Prove the principle to yourself. No one can do it for you. You have to prove it. And so our conclusion, our call to action, was listed in our statement of being that we read together. It says, or part of it says, we transform lives and reveal God. We transform our own life when we take responsibility for our own spiritual growth. We practice. We do that through meditation, through education, taking classes, music, service, like Denise on the tech team doing all the audio visual herself, all of our wonderful speakers, Bobby, Reverend Cindy, Reverend Connie, later to come, everyone who, Richard, that opened the building and turned on the heat this morning. You practice by demonstrating the principles in your daily life, but you have to practice. That's the only way to get to Carnegie Hall is by practicing. So Ernest Holmes said in the Sermon by the Sea at Asilomar in 1959, "Find me 1,000 people in the world who know what religious science is and use it and live it as it is. And I'll myself live to see a new world, a new heaven, and a new earth right here." Trust the science, people. Hypothesize, ask questions, to discover the roots of your thinking so you can change it for better results. And then get out in the world and prove it. So we're going to ask a volunteer to put in the chat the 3 questions that you can ponder throughout the week. And I'll read them, but you can toss them in the chat all together. Question number 1 is, what motivates you to do spiritual practices? What motivates you? What gets you ready to do it? 2, what are your favorite spiritual practices and why? Why are they your favorites? And the last one is, what spiritual practice are you curious to try? Maybe you could try something new and experiment, hypothesize with how that's going to turn out for you and see what happens in your world. And the affirmation for the week is, I become what I practice. I like that one. It's like, you are what you eat. I become what I practice. And now I invite you to get into a prayer pose, get comfortable, close your eyes if you so choose, while I pray, or treat, as we call it in religious science, a treatment I'm going to give for the celebrating the many opportunities to practice the science of mind. There is only one thing that's happening at all time. One spirit, one eternal spirit, one universal soul, one life, one mind. It goes by so many names. I call it God. And it's not my God. It's not the Christian's God. It's not the Buddhist God. It's not the Muslim's God. There's only one God, one life, one spirit, one vibration that moves and breathes us all. And knowing that there is just one, I know, because that's all there is. That's all I am. I'm made up of the same God stuff. All of the attributes that I can attest to God live in me. I am a physical manifestation of the Father. God lives me, lives this experience on this plane of earth as me, as you. God breathes me. God speaks me. And I know that there is no spot where God is not, that wherever you are hearing my voice or whenever you are hearing my voice, God, the presence of spirit, is right there, right here, and right now. And I know that I can practice these principles to experience greater things in my life. And I also know that sometimes things may seem to be difficult. And that's okay. I don't resist that. I find a way to think about that thing in a way that serves me instead of holding me back and helping to repeat that process in my life. I can look at all things, good or bad, in a new way and practice a new love for it all, because we know it's all good and it's all God. And I'm so thankful for this idea. I'm thankful for this teaching. I'm thankful for the Centers of Spiritual Living. I'm thankful for our center here in Monterey. I'm so thankful for our senior minister, Reverend Robert, and the blessing that he has of taking time off and giving us an opportunity to show that we too understand what he tells us every Sunday. So grateful. And it's not a transactional gratitude that I'm thankful for. I'm not thankful because of these things. You know, I was taught when I was young, somebody gives me something. What do you say? I'll say thank you. But that's not our relationship with God. I don't thank God because of the things that he's done for me. I don't thank God because what he's going to give me. I don't thank God because of things that are going to happen. I don't beseech him. I just give thanks. I put it out into the universe, and that thanks comes back to me multiplied. That is how the law works. And so we put all these things, we put all these ideas, all these tools into the law. And we know that just as we plant a seed, that is what we are going to grow. And so I release it. I'm not going to go back in the dirt and dig it up and look for it and see if it's budding. I'm going to put that into the soil of the law and just let it be. And here at the Center for Religious Science, Centers for Spiritual Living in Monterey, we affirm this. If any part of this treatment resonated with you, we can all say together, and so it is. Thank you. And now has come the part where we can all participate in the act of giving and circulating our abundance, letting that abundance move and flow. Together, we're going to say this affirmation that should be on your screen. I recognize the presence of God within as my source of abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the uninterrupted flow of abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. Thank you. And now on the screen, you'll be able to see the different ways that you can give to the center. We thank you, even though we know that gratitude is not transactional, we do thank you for your gifts and your participation in this way, because we want you to support the center that you feel supported in. And we hope that you feel at home right here in Monterey Center. So you can mail your donation. If you like to physically write your gratitude in a check, you can put it in our box. If you're in the sanctuary, there's a box on the table in the back. You can text the word give to the number on the screen, and then you will receive a text with a link that will take you directly to a place where you can give. Or you can go to our website, montereycsl.org, and donate there. Whatever you can do, we appreciate it. We use these gifts to tithe back into our community to continue to make this world a world that works for everybody. And let's see, thank you all to those who have joined us in Zoom, or if you're watching live on Facebook, or if you're watching later on YouTube. We appreciate you being here whenever, wherever you are. And we invite you to join us this Tuesday at 6:30. There is going to be a Zoom link. If we don't put it in right away, we'll put that Zoom link in the chat later today, where you can find our meeting. We invite you to join the class. It's called Spiritual Principles and Practices. Is that just not kismet? This is where you can practice. Join a class, take a class, learn and grow and co-create with us. So next month, the theme for the month is going to be Living Everyday Wonder, and we're going to focus on the inner self. So next week, the topic will be, can I see God in me? I can't wait to see how Reverend Robert brings that to us. So please come back if this is your first time. We are so happy to see our visitors here in the sanctuary and wherever you are in Zoom. Thank you for joining us today. And goodbye to our virtual friends. See you next time.